Are you happy for
thanks.
me?
Thanks for having me on the podcast. I mean, it's really been a pleasure. So
Yeah, it's been
all
great.
right, see you next week, everybody.
Oh, were we not recording?
That'd be so great. That whole thing was totally that is in essence Cody and Austin right there in a nutshell. Hi,
Yeah.
I'm Austin and I'm Cody.
Yep. Well, Austin, how you been?
Dude, it feels good. You know, some of the more personal things that's been going on in life. So things are starting to really look up. I'm pretty happy.
Wait,
My dog.
are you not talking about movies right now?
Oh, well, if that's the case.
No, we don't talk about life here. There is no life.
Well,
at
movies
the-
are life.
Movies are life at the movie shelf.
So, it's been pretty great. Obviously, you know that you and I have talked. I wish I could watch more. You definitely get to watch more nowadays than I do.
Yeah.
Because you know I got the little tyke running around.
Yeah, you got a little baby, bro.
Yeah,
Dude, just watch movies with the baby. I don't understand. You're like, I can't watch movies. I got the baby. Dude, I bet your daughter would love everything
to
everywhere.
watch Men.
She would
That's
love
the
Men.
first.
Your baby would love it, dude.
She gets her daily digest of Bluey, the Australian blue dog,
Yeah.
blue healer, which is great.
Which, I've
Fantastic.
heard isn't bad. No
Season
men.
3 dropped today, and I almost watched it without her home. So that should tell you everything you need to know about that kid's show on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. I've cried because of that show, actually. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it's pretty great. But I really
Let me ask you this. Since you don't get to watch a ton of movies, let's say it's a night where you're by yourself, no kid, no wife, nothing. Like they're
oh wow,
are
you're getting me excited.
they're off somewhere, and you got the place to yourself. You can watch one movie, and it's one movie that you've been waiting to watch or whatever that you've been anticipating. What movie is it?
That's coming out too.
No, it's something that like you would be able to obtain today.
Oh, today? Oh
Yeah.
man, that is a good question. Honestly, we were talking about it just a little bit ago. I really want to see Everything Everywhere All at Once because
Yeah.
I heard it did super good, and
Yeah.
I feel like I missed out on that theatrical. And I'll tell you what, and you and I did talk about this whenever that movie came out. I was gonna go see that in theaters, but it didn't come out where I am.
Yeah. That's what sucks too, is because now it's such a big box. It's the first A24 movie to reach $100 million in the box office.
Which is huge for A24. Like,
Yeah.
and they deserve it, man. They really do.
Especially that movie. Like out of their movies, I'm like, yeah, this is the one that needed it. Like this is the one that deserves it.
But you and I also talked about like how great that movie is for A24 and their space, but also how we've also talked about how artsy A24 usually leans towards,
Yeah.
especially like in terms of indie stuff. And I don't want like these mega, blockbuster movies that come out and everyone like jump on the A24 train. Like I want them to stay like my little A24, my little A.
Yeah, that's true. Because I remember last year when there was like a lot of rumors going around that Apple TV Apple TV Plus was trying to obtain A24 and like merge with them.
I would cry.
Legitimately, I would be like, how did they fall to such corporate greed? How did they? Why would they do this?
Pulmonary embolism.
I know they've had a few movies that are Apple TV Plus exclusives, which has also come with some faults. Like, I'm fine with it. Whatever, I have it. I'll watch them. But, like, we haven't gotten a physical release of The Tragedy of Macbeth. You can only watch it on Apple TV Plus, which is so annoying. I want a physical copy so bad.
Yes. Because you know how cool, like, let's say they did a steelbook release for that movie. You know how amazing it would be given
even
the
just
art
like
they went to that movie?
Even just like a sexy, nice little slipcover. Just,
Speaking of, okay, we just talked about Everything Everywhere All at Once. The 4K version of the slipcover for Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah. The one with all the eyeballs.
Googly eyes. Yeah, that's amazing. I love it.
I love that one. I think, if I had to guess, if they ever do a physical release of Tragedy of Macbeth, it's going to be either one of the like A24 exclusive ones that's like on their site, like with Lamb and the Souvenir, or dude, it should just go straight to the Criterion Collection, straight up.
Dude, we said that from as soon. I think we both said it because I remember I watched it and then I called you immediately after.
Yeah.
And by the way, I know I gave it a 10.
I don't remember what I gave it. I can check my Letterboxd.
Yeah, do that. That was before I was on the letterbox train because I was a little scared, boy. But I know that one of the things we first said whenever we got on the phone was that it definitely is a Criterion worthy movie. 100%.
I gave it 4 out of 5 stars.
Dang.
Yeah.
I think I gave it a 10. That was when I was doing IMDb.
Yeah. Dude, so, as you know, this is all new. All this like creating content that I'm trying to start. I'm trying to push myself to do this stuff, which is why I wanted to start this. I wanted to start making YouTube videos, stuff
Which
like that.
you're killing, by the way.
Oh,
can I
thank
just
you.
say?
I appreciate that. One of the things I want to do though is at the end of each month I want to do like here's the stuff I watched this month. Here's and I'll just do like a quick some quick fire reviews of everything. So it's like here. So I've been keeping track of everything I've watched. And there's one movie I want to talk about because I was going to make a video about it. I still might. I don't know. But I haven't had the time to do it, and like setting it up has been too difficult. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. But I watched a movie. Sierra and I watched a movie called The Amazing Panda Adventure. It's on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were like,
is this an animated show movie?
No, it's a.
It sounds like an animated movie.
Let me try to explain it to you. It's one of those kids movies from like the early mid 90s that feels akin to like a Sandlot, Little Rascals, Three Ninjas, something along those lines. Where it's just like a kid getting stuck in an adventure that like I don't know, definitely geared towards kids, but it has that sprinkle of like 90s problematic source material and like plot line that you can only get from those 90s and early 2000s movies. It just felt very nostalgic, even though I'd never seen it. It felt very like, oh, I feel like I'm watching Richie Rich again, like when I was a kid.
Do you feel like it did more for you than just the nostalgia factor?
No.
That's my problem is like I'm glad you said this because
hold on. Can I make one thing clear? It wasn't a good movie. It was.
No, exactly.
Okay. It wasn't good. I didn't get anything out of it other than just like laughter, a couple of like cringe moments, and the whole time I was like, this would make a great YouTube video. And that's what kept me watching it was like I'd get a good video out of this, and now I don't even know if that video is gonna happen. But I know that the movie leaves HBO Max at the end of this month. So, back to my first question of if you had one movie that you could watch, I would recommend The Amazing Panda Adventure. Because this movie is a blast, and it sucks, but it's so over the top. It sucks
in a great way.
It sucks in like a great. It blows by. The runtime, the pacing is incredible. The actors are horrendous. The score is horrible. There's some racism, just some blatant racism. There's
snowflakes tread lightly.
There's so basically the premise of this movie is there's this kid and his dad lives in China, and he runs like a panda preservation place. And so the summer's coming up, and he's like, I'm gonna go visit my dad in China. So he gets on this plane, goes to China, whatever. You realize pretty quickly that his dad sucks because his dad isn't there to pick him up from the airport. So this kid's trying to traverse China by himself to find his dad. Ends up finding him. That's where I thought the plot was gonna kick in. Like that's where I was like, oh, this kid's lost in China, and he's going on a panda adventure. I don't know. Like I thought the adventure was he was gonna go find his dad. Finds his dad in like 5 minutes. He's like, oh, dad, and he's living on this panda preservation where they're like, you got to watch out for poachers, all this stuff, whatever. Long story short, this kid and this other Chinese girl that lives on the preservation get lost in the woods with a baby panda, and they're trying to run away from poachers. That's the adventure. There's a line in the movie where the main kid meets the Chinese girl for the first time, and I kid you not, there's a line where he looks at his dad and he goes, "Why does she talk funny?"
Oh no. Oh no.
And Sierra and I both were like, "Ooh," we're like, "Oh no." Yeah.
Can I change my answer?
Yeah.
It would be Whitebird.
Don't even start, dude. For anyone who
The racism, it just brought it out.
if you're listening to this and care, please go look up the trailer for Whitebird.
Pause. Please pause.
Pause this and go watch the trailer for Whitebird because it might be the winner for best movie trailer of the year.
Like, there's a very distinct moment, and if it doesn't hit you, then we need to have a talk as you an individual.
I don't think I've ever spit out like a drink from laughter
out
like,
your nose,
out my nose and everything. And in that movie theater, when that trailer played and that moment hit, I was like coughing, couldn't like. There was almost Dr. Pepper everywhere.
I watched it on my phone or on my computer, and I literally went, "What?
What?" Yeah. But there is another movie that I watched this month that you also have watched this month.
Yeah, begrudgingly.
Yeah, it's one that we can check off the movie shelf. We don't have to. We can take it off the shelf. We don't need it anymore. What?
It's not going in a good bin.
Oh, for real?
No.
You didn't like it?
No.
All right. Would you like to say what movie it is?
We watched the new movie to Hulu, Prey.
The Hulu original.
Cue the spitting in.
Yeah. Prey. Dun 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 dun.
Sitcom music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that movie. So let me rewind a little bit, and I'll say this. You told we originally picked a different movie to start with. Yeah. I'm not going to say it yet because I don't know if you want to reveal that.
We'll revisit it.
And so I will say this, that I am highly disappointed that we didn't watch the other movie.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah.
Very disappointed. And then two, what I told you before we watched this movie stands to be true. Although it did gain some respect.
Okay.
It really did. But
what did you tell me about the trailer?
I said, you're like, I want to watch this. I was like, really? Because I think it's going to be really bad. And I actually said, you must have watched a different trailer than me, is what I said.
I didn't think it was the worst. But
it wasn't the worst in the franchise.
But that's not saying a lot.
Exactly.
But that's not saying a lot at all. I think it was... let's just go through the movie, okay? Let's give our... hold on. First, let's give our opinions. Our
I'm going to pull my
baseline.
Notes out. I took notes.
Yes, I need to pull my notes out. Let's give our baseline. Here's my... What I put on Letterboxd, basically, was I said... we're
reading Letterboxd review.
Well, we don't have to read the whole Letterboxd review. I just know mine's
a lot
brief.
Longer than yours.
Yeah, yours.
Yeah, mine's a lot longer.
Let me find my review of it. Okay, I said the first act was good, and then it plateaued. I wish it did more. it's definitely still the best movie in the Predator franchise, besides the first one, obviously. Um, which is true. It is the best one since the first Predator.
I do agree with that.
But that's not saying a ton.
No, it's not.
Um, there are aspects of the movie that I liked. There's a lot of things that I liked, and I wish they either expanded on or did more of, or did better. But there's
Different.
also a lot of things that I was like, come on. Like I was like, this could let's go through my first note and then we'll see where it compares with your first note. Or what's your first note that you have?
Okay, well, so first of all, I don't know how you took notes, but I did a pros and cons.
Oh, no, I didn't. I did. I just, as I was watching the movie, wrote down my thoughts throughout the whole movie.
I guess technically I did too, but I just did it in the way, like if I came across a pro, I just put it in there, and if I came across a con. So let's go based off your notes, and if I have anything that like hits in there, we'll go off of that.
Well, my first note is a pro, and it's it's about my favorite character in the movie, which is the dog. The dog is my favorite character.
Yes.
The dog is my favorite character in the whole movie. To be honest, the dog carried the movie. The dog carried the movie for me. And the whole time, anytime the dog got in any sort of danger, when its foot or when its tail got caught in the bear trap, hold on. Actually, pause for 2 seconds. We need a spoiler alert here because we're going to talk about this movie in detail. And
that detail was not major.
That detail wasn't major, but I just wanted to get this out of the way. We will be spoiling this movie. If you have not seen it,
like exhaustive breakdown of this movie. So like you cannot watch this and be like
frame by frame playthrough of this movie. Yeah, the dog carried. And whenever it was in any type of danger, I legitimately was like, if they kill this dog, I am turning this movie off.
There was a few times I was like, where I was like, it's gonna die.
It's gonna die. When it like ran off by itself, when it got caught in the bear trap, all these different the bear, I was like, if this dog died, and here's the other thing, props to them for using a real dog and not using a fake CGI dog.
Yeah, because thank you for saying the word CGI because I'm gonna go ahead and say it. CGI on Predator, amazing. I actually thought it was pretty good. Everything else,
but hold on, stay here for a minute. Was he CGI through the whole movie?
I think that he was a mix between practical and CGI.
Yeah,
because
there was definitely an actor in a suit. 100%. There was an actor in a 100%. Suit. But there probably was a lot of, especially like the invisible stuff.
Well, and I can tell you for certain that the choreography for some of the fight stuff, that was so good.
Yeah.
That there's no way they could have done that in CGI.
Yeah, I do agree that the fights looked great. The fight scenes.
Well, hold on. With the budget they had. Let me rephrase that. With the budget they had. But I think like the bear was not that great looking.
So that's my thing. Every animal that was CG in that movie looked great until it moved.
Yes.
The deer, the snake, the rabbit, and the rabbit and the fox or whatever it was.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
Those looked awesome until they moved. The bear looked like garbage the whole time. The bear, it looked comical.
It looked like a cutout.
Yeah. And whenever Predator punches the bear, it looked like a video game. I was like, oh.
It could have been so cool too.
Yeah.
I will say the coolest part.
They couldn't afford Jon Favreau animals. They couldn't afford those.
The one cool part is when he's holding the bear over his head
and the blood.
And it drenches when he's cloaked and it drenches him. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
But like it was cool, not in a good movie sense, and that was that was like my big glaring issue with this movie is that it had a lot of cool parts where I was like, this movie was cool in the way that like military movies are cool. If I see a military movie on Netflix, I can't help but watch it, even though I know like, okay, this is gonna be a 5. Like out
across
the,
the board,
like,
5,
or like I should say IMDb 5, so it'd be like a 2.
Yeah,
on Letterboxd.
Where was I? Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second.
You're good.
That was my big hang up with this movie is all the stuff that was cool or that I thought was cool, I was like, it's cool, but if it were a different movie, like,
Yes.
like if this was its own thing and it wasn't like, let's say the other Predator movies didn't exist and this was just a movie about an alien hunting this indigenous tribe, I'd be like, heck yeah, like this is dope, this is awesome. But it's got these other movies that you have to by default compare it to, which it does better than a lot of them, but it adds a stigma and it adds a weird like Hollywood feel to it. Because if this was just like some independent movie that some director was like passionate about, some story he wrote and put this together, I'd be like, yeah, this is awesome. But the fact that it's backed by 20th Century Fox and the entire Predator franchise, like that's where these cool moments
and one of the more major streaming services on the market.
Yeah. The fact that it plateaued so hard for me, because I was in up until I literally wrote a note. Hold on, we're skipping a lot of my notes here. We can come back to them. I wrote a note where I said 41 minutes in, and the girl and the Predator have not interacted. The main chick.
It took you 41 minutes to be out.
40. No, that's not when I went out. That's where I was like, is something. I was like, we got to get the ball moving, because like
it was like, the climax was the ending.
Yeah, here's what, because you know me, I'm a fan of a good slow burn, and that's not even what this was. The setup that they were doing was good stuff.
Awful.
The setup that they were doing was good stuff, but they needed to connect it. There was no connective tissue between the different scenes that were taking place. So, like, for example, I love the first, like, 20 minutes of the movie. Specifically all this stuff where she's, like, trying to hunt and she, like, goes out with her. They won't let her.
I agree with the 20
when she's sharpening the axe, there's a line specifically where she's sharpening the axe, and it's the axe that her father gave her, and she's like, I'm going to use this to hunt. And the mom's like, your dad gave you that for bread. Like,
yeah, like to chop bread or
she
whatever.
Used it,
yeah.
You're supposed to use it to cut bread. And she's like, mm-mm. Like, I loved that. I was like, okay, let's go. Let's kill something. The other thing I put, though, was she better not kill a predator. Like, she hasn't killed a thing. She better not kill a predator. Like, she can't kill a predator. She's 110 pounds. The fact that she did doesn't bother me. Because the way she did it, I guess, was smart.
But she killed like 5 rabbits.
It's not even that. The things that I'm hung up on are like, she learned how to fight it so fast. When that's what the slow burn should have. The slow burn part of it should have been her learning the predator.
Like, almost a prolonged fight.
Yes.
Where like she encounters these different parts of the predator and then figures it out. But it was like she like.
Because I thought that's what they were gonna do. Where
yeah, me too.
Because with the name of the movie being Prey, which I get why.
Yeah, me too.
But what I thought they were gonna do with it was that like the predator has now become the prey, and she was gonna hunt this predator. Like, I'm gonna learn it. I'm gonna figure out what its weaknesses are, which she does, but she just does it so fast in the last like 30 minutes when it should have been the whole movie. All the stuff with like the French people that show up and like kidnap her.
I have a huge problem with that whole part of the movie.
Yeah, because that's like your heritage, dude. You didn't like them messing with that. That's like your whole heritage,
God.
dude.
You're right. My uncle's a French trapper.
Yeah.
A morbidly obese French trapper.
Which I guess that can lead us into this is, I get that it's a big budget mainstream movie, and I get what they did artistically. And I understand that if you go to Hulu, you can watch a dubbed version of the movie. But I hate that this whole thing is in English.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. My biggest problem with it from the get-go, right? Let me just kind of set this up. Opening cinematic, right? Like, it opens up with that like nice blue, grungy feel, and I was like, oh, I was like, dude, I'm about to be so wrong. It's
Yeah.
about to be a beautiful movie and everything like that. And then it switches, and I was like,
Yeah.
what's up with the color grading?
It starts with her saying like a poem or something, and
Yeah.
I'm assuming Comanche. Um, and then she like transitions to English, which I guess was their way of like, you're supposed to assume they're speaking Comanche this whole time. We just made them speak English so that you could understand it.
But they
That's
didn't
my
even
guess.
speak like an older English.
No, they spoke like
High schoolers.
yeah, they talked like high schoolers. There was no
Like
like
when the brothers teach, like she's like they're like shooting at the falcon or whatever in the
yeah,
sky, or the hawk, not a falcon, a hawk, a whole falcon in
a
the
whole
sky.
falcon.
They're just like that whole scene. Just for like, I was listening to them talk, but in my head, I was saying like, jerk brother leaned up on the locker in a
Yeah,
high school hallway.
exactly.
Like that's what I saw, and I was like,
Look,
what's
I
wrong
killed the
with this?
beast. I killed the lion. Check
Yeah,
it. And I'm like,
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you're good at tracking, but like I committed to the kill.
but I committed
like,
to the kill and I did it. And you, I know I said that we did this, but we didn't. I did this.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah. I was like,
ugh.
oh my god, like
Yeah.
really.
But on
It-
Hulu,
it not-
there's a
Go ahead.
version you can click to watch that is the Comanche dub. So the whole movie's in Comanche, but it's
I
dubbed.
wish I would have seen that.
But it's dubbed, so it doesn't. And there's no like, there's not subtitles built into the movie. It's you have to put on like closed captioning, and Hulu's closed captioning sucks so bad. And so it's like, I don't know. I feel like if they just I know there was like budgetary limitations and probably time restraints, but if in a perfect world, I would have loved for them to film each scene twice, one in English and one like in Comanche, like get actors who can actually do both, which I know is super difficult, but it's been done before. Like Denis Villeneuve, one of his first movies, Polytechnic, I think is what it's called, Polytechnica. There's two versions of the movie. There's an English version and a French version, and they filmed it twice. Each scene they filmed twice, one in English and one in French.
And French is such a beautiful language, dude. That'd be such a great way to
I'm
like
learning.
watch the movie.
I'm learning French.
I know you are. I'm so proud of you.
I got to do my Duolingo today, dude. Thanks for reminding me. I'm gonna lose my streak.
I do agree, and that was actually one of my cons. Is that I feel like it needed to lean more into culture and language, because, but not in every way, really. Like, because if you, which I know you did, because we watch movies very similarly, is that if you really watch some of the background stuff, I really feel like they aced a lot of it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like the costuming around like the
set
background
design,
characters,
the costumes, the makeup,
all that stuff. It was good. I don't think that the protagonist's costume was good.
Mm-mm.
I
was
felt
very
like
much
it was a weird approach on like an emo girl
yeah.
Comanche outfit.
She looked
and I was
like
I don't feel like it works.
She looked like homegirl from Parks and Rec to me.
Yeah.
April. She looked like April from
Yeah.
Parks and Rec to me. I was like, at first I was like, is that? And then I was like, no, that's not her.
I wish.
Could you imagine? Dude, she'd be canceled on Twitter trying to play a Comanche.
I know.
Yeah.
And like, here's the deal. And obviously, like, I hate to crap all over this movie because, like, I do think, like, especially me being from Oklahoma, and like you and I just recently read Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah.
And like now we're waiting for the movie to come out
Because we're a
which I'm
bunch
so
of little
excited for.
Scorsese boys.
Yeah. Well, not even that. Like, I truly, I feel like a connection about, like, after especially reading that book, like, I just feel like I kind of a connection to the Indians, really, not to sound like really weird or whatever, but like, I get what they were trying to do, but like, I just feel like budget could have went to something else. Like,
Yeah.
there was a different way I know there's a different way to do it.
Here's what if I could have done my version of this movie, I would have not introduced the predator aspect until way later into the movie. I would have built him up and made his introduction so much more intense and
Heavy,
and
just heavy.
heavy and cooler. Like if the bear was the first time you saw the predator, like when it gets drenched in blood, you're like, oh shoot, like it's right there. That would have been dope. But we get this stupid. I wrote it down. I understand that the predator is already an established character to the audience,
But you can't shoot a movie like that.
but its reveal was so garbage. She sees the ship, and you're like, whoa. And then 2 scenes later, you see him like drop down and then go invisible. And then you're like, okay, the predator's out there somewhere. Like
But you didn't even see him go invisible. He was just already invisible.
Yeah. And I'm
You
like,
didn't even see him at all. And I was like, what the heck?
yeah, they needed to build that so much more. That like the suspense, because I thought what would have been way better, the whole thing where they're like, oh, there's a lion out there. What if they were like the whole time, there's a lion out there we got to kill? There ain't no lion.
Wasn't even a lion.
It was a predator. It was a freaking predator. But no, there was a
Like that
lion.
would have been, yeah.
He showed up with the lion, and I was like, oh. Or the lion jumped up on the tree, and I was like, oh, legit, there was a lion. Okay. Sorry.
Which looked like crap.
I
looked like a
did
big
like
house cat.
I did like though that she failed.
Me too.
I did like that she did not kill the lion. I was like,
Well,
okay.
She kinda. It was like a half fail because you do find out later that she did, like the only reason why he killed it was because she maimed it.
Yeah.
Like when she stuck it in the side.
Yeah.
So
But-
like she did fail. She didn't get the kill and she didn't bring it home, which is like the whole point of their village's culture.
To her, she failed. To her,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
She needed that failure to like push her story wise, and I enjoyed that part of the story aspect. I just wish they would have made the predator aspect so much more suspenseful and like really draw it out, so that final fight was a little more impactful. Because to me, I was like, oh, they're fighting. Oh, she won. Yay.
Woo, big surprise.
Yeah.
Like I think that could have been accomplished by completely taking out the French takeover.
Yeah.
I think the
that's
French.
fair.
I don't think any of the French stuff should have been in the movie, and the reason is because the entire movie, in my opinion, gets background and setting confused.
Yeah.
Are you trying to set background or are you trying to set setting?
Yeah.
Which one are you doing? And I feel like it was conflict. Like literally, when the French thing happened, I was like, it took me a minute to go, oh yeah, that was happening.
Well, they also
During
don't
that
ever
time period.
fully describe where they're at.
No. And why do they know about the Predator already?
Oh, did they? I don't remember that.
Yeah, because the French guy was like, the one who could speak English came over and talked to her in the cage and was basically like, the thing that you're hunting, we know about it, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
like, that type of thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like literally going, can I figure out what's going on?
Exactly.
Like, I don't know what's going on in this movie right now. And so I will say this. Fight choreography was great, like I said earlier with the
And it
with
was
the
shot
Predator.
well.
It was shot well. My favorite part, and I feel like, I don't know, for some reason, I just feel this way. My actual favorite part of the entire movie is when the protagonist fights the male in that group of people when they went out to rescue her.
Oh yeah. And they like,
you know what I'm talking about?
they like beat each other up.
Yeah,
That-
and I was
yeah,
like,
that
this
was-
is the moment. I was like, this is amazing. Like, I like this a
Yes,
lot.
because-
this is good conflict.
Not only, never mind. I was going to make a joke, but never mind. I just think it showed also, it pinned down that like the tribe is very much in the camp. The rest of the tribe is in the camp of like, you cannot hunt. You are a woman.
Sure.
Go clean and make medicine. Go clean, cook, and make
Yeah.
medicine. And she's like, no. And like even down to like the people that she goes out and hunts with, They're like, you shouldn't be out here. Like they make sure that she knows that, and she's like, I get it. Like I loved that back and forth between like the you can't do this, you can't do this, because part of me was expecting her to not do it. Like I was expecting her to get killed.
Like you thought the ending was actually going to be the Predator winning?
Yeah. And I thought that's where
I
like
did too.
yeah, that's where I thought it was going, but it didn't. Which I'm not like super upset about, but I was surprised because I was like, oh, all right.
The way the Predator died, by the way, is so dumb.
Yeah, yeah. I have a thing I want to talk about this movie that we skipped, and it's way at the beginning of the movie. Is a huge pro. I loved it. Was the title card.
So good.
I loved
So
the
good.
title card.
Me
But
too.
you know what I hated?
I really did.
I hated the closing credit sequence. I hated it. When it cut to black, I was like, huh?
Is this really?
And it
like,
plays the most like stock music action cinematic soundtrack,
Oh, cool! I use this on
royalty
Artlist.
free. Yeah. And it has like all the cave drawings. And then did you watch the whole cave drawing sequence
Yeah.
and how they like set up for a sequel? They didn't. I guarantee you, it's just them being like, "Oh, we had to throw this in there for the people who haven't seen Predator, because like they need to know that predators are still around or whatever."
Sure. Yeah, like people need to know this isn't the only Predator.
Yeah,
Which I don't even know why they would believe that because they saw the ship fly away.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I was
Um,
like, eh.
So, and I know I think you might be in a different camp than me on this, but like if you're gonna have a Predator movie, why shy away from the gore so much?
I didn't.
Dude,
My
there was a
guess-
lot of jump cuts at some
Yeah.
pretty like potentially good kill scenes.
Yeah,
Like there was one where the Predator throws the net on the trapper
and it
like
Squishes
misses
him.
him. Amazing. It shows it, and I was like, A plus. Like that was amazing. But then there was like a bunch of other moments where it was just a bunch of jump cuts to like closer up angles where
Yeah.
like you just see him dead, and I'm like
yeah.
I can make this. Like no offense, like really
Yeah.
and truly, I could make this. I
My
could direct
guess-
this movie.
My guess with that is we're putting this on a streaming site where anyone can get to it. Our budget's lower, and we're not going to be able to do test audiences, like test screenings. So let's just take the safe route, and like we'll do a little bit like this. That's what this movie felt to me, was safe. This movie felt so
Yeah.
safe, and it took
I
no
agree.
risks. And I was like, all right, like
I don't know. I just like how are you gonna make a movie in the Predator series and like, and no, it just doesn't make sense, right? You see the trapper get turned into a hamburger patty.
yeah,
You see the bear pour a literal gallons and gallons of blood on this guy. So like you have moments where it's like, why are you showing this, but you're not going to show the other? I just don't like, I
Yeah.
don't get it.
no, I understand.
So it just feels weird. It feels like whoever was, calling the shots here in terms of like what to put in, what edits to put where, and whatever that might look like. It just feel like they had a hard time deciding,
yeah,
which made me had a hard time deciding whether or not I even like the movie.
exactly. I agree. I I have a quote here from Sierra, because she was kind of just like in the room. She wasn't really watching it. She said, "It's giving Primal season in Fortnite."
And pretty much,
Yeah.
I mean,
We were making jokes the whole time. I was like, she was sliding down the hill and stuff, and I was like, I do that in Fortnite.
it really was. I do want to real quick highlight some shots.
Okay.
Visually. There was some definite green screens.
Oh yeah.
Definite
For
bad
sure.
green screens. But that's not what I'm highlighting. My favorite shot, I think, in the entire movie is after the predator kills the rescue party, she gets away and runs into that tall grass, and
Yeah.
that other part of the tribe like pulls her down, and then they start running away, and it does the aerial shot
Yeah.
of them running, and
And
it shows him, the predator, invisible, but you can see how fast he is because of the grass.
Dude.
I said,
Yeah, that was
whoever
awesome.
thought of that, I was like, you are an intelligent individual.
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah, that thing was
beautiful way-
booking, dude. That thing was
dude, I know, I was
booking.
like, y'all are dead.
Yeah.
Speaking of like so many opportunities, right? Like that's my problem with like a lot of these types of movies, right? Is like you're sitting there going, they would be dead there.
Mm-hmm.
Like he could easily
Yeah.
just.
That's where you
kill
kind of have
them.
to. That's where you just kind of have to remove your logic.
Yeah, I know.
You have to
right.
distance your like reality a little bit, because if it was all just based off whatever logic, he would have just ran into that camp and ripped him up,
Yeah.
murked them
I
all.
also liked the scene where how she figures out
Yeah.
how he sees people.
Yeah. He
With
looks for the he
thermal?
looks for the threat, and he looks for the
Yeah.
thermal, and he looks for the biggest threat. That's why I loved the scene with the fox and the rabbit thing.
It explains it perfectly.
Because he was like, I don't want that little rabbit. He's like, I want to go for that fox. He's like, that's the predator, and he's like, I want to go for that because I'm the predator. I want to like, he's in it for big game and big game only. And
although it did give me the like King of the Hill, not like the show King of the Hill, but like the game, like
Yeah.
right. That's what I felt like was being played the whole time. Was
Yeah.
just like
and that's
King of
and
the
I
Hill.
mean that's about it. Yeah.
He's
He's
just
just trying to be top of the food chain.
But the thing is, right, is like there wasn't that whole build up, right? Like she never became like
Yeah.
she still is not like even though she killed it, like she's not a good, like she doesn't deserve to be war chief.
Yeah.
Like what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
When she
Like,
showed up to the camp, everyone was like, I guess we gotta.
yeah, like she's carrying an alien's head.
Yeah.
Like what do you say? So I don't know. The sad part is that I have more pros on my list than cons, but the pros are minor and the cons are major.
Yeah. No, I feel the exact same way. There's a lot of stuff I liked about this movie, but the fact that it failed, in my opinion, it failed in the story and like how it should have been framed and how much better it could have been put together. That's why it's like it's just so mid to me. Like,
And the fact that they had such poor green screens in some of the shots, but their on location shots were so good.
yeah.
Like some of their on location shots were like amazing.
Yeah. And I like the director too.
Mhm.
10 Cloverfield
Yeah.
Lane is awesome. I freaking love that movie.
Yeah, me too. I love that movie.
And that's what makes me and I guarantee you it's probably like studio interference or writers being whatever.
Absolutely.
But like 10 Cloverfield Lane does what this movie should have done, where the threat is kept secret the whole time. The threat is a mystery, and then it is revealed to you in the end. Which, sure, you could argue all day of like, well, why would they want to keep it a mystery? We already know what it is based off the title and based off what this movie is.
But you already
and
know that in 10 Cloverfield Lane too.
Exactly. Like
if we're talking comparing like, okay, this guy did a sequel to this movie, that type of thing. Also, let's back up a little bit. We got some pretty star-studded actors and an actress in 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
Like, right.
Yeah.
Like,
we got John Goodman. I mean,
we got John Goodman.
It's
John
gonna be-
Gallagher Jr.
it's gonna be good, man.
And so you can't. I don't know. It is hard to compare in terms of like the acting.
Imagine
talent.
Prey, but the Indian chief was John Goodman.
Or the big trapper dude.
Yeah.
The French trapper guy. That was John Goodman.
Yeah, speaking French. So funny.
So I really was. I was a little disappointed afterwards. I was like, man, I gotta talk about this Dookie Shoes movie.
Well, we can watch a good. We'll watch a good movie next time.
Yeah,
because here's the thing, which I'll make this clear now since I guess this is the first episode. Our idea with this podcast, The Movie Shelf, is that there is a hypothetical, invisible movie shelf out there that just has every movie, good, bad, new, old, underrated, underappreciated, overappreciated, every kind of movie out there, and we just gotta
Titanic,
and we just gotta knock them off the list. We just gotta start taking them off the shelf one by one, watching them and talking about them.
I will say this is that like, whenever I was thinking about this whole idea of a movie podcast, right, is what's the point if we only talk about good movies?
Yeah, no, we gotta talk about some doo-doo. Gotta talk about some old ones, gotta talk about some new ones.
The hard part is this, right? And I say this all the time, and I do not mean this in like a, I'm not twirling my mustache right now.
Yeah.
I really do have a pretty genuine good sixth sense when it comes to movies. Like, I pretty much know for a fact if I'm going to love or hate a movie before I go into it.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, my mind is seldomly changed. And when it is, obviously those turned out to be some of the best movies.
Yeah.
But, like, I knew I wasn't going to like this movie. I will say that doesn't keep me from... That is an unbiased opinion going in.
Yeah.
I just know, I don't really think this is going to be my thing.
Yeah. I'm more often disappointed than like surprised. Like if I go to a movie and I'm like, I don't think this is gonna be great, and then I'm like, oh my god, that was awesome. I usually don't even go see a movie like that in the first place. Like I'll wait till I can just watch it on whatever. Or if I hear friends of mine that are like, oh, it was actually amazing and it was awesome, you should go see it. And I was like, all right, I'll go check it out. But most of the time, I'm like, I'm excited for this movie, and then I see it and I'm like, dang.
Yeah. Did you happen to see that Top Gun Maverick passed Titanic on the box office charts?
Good.
Yeah. Well, my question is how long until James Cameron does another re-release?
Dude.
He's going to.
Yeah, he's going to right before Avatar 2 comes out. Or he'll make some deal with like AMC theaters or whatever, where it's like
a double feature.
You can go catch a double feature, which would be.
Could you imagine
the worst double feature I've ever seen in my life?
The longest double feature you've ever seen in your life.
That would be like a good replacement for like a melatonin or like a Xanax or something. Is like an Avatar double feature.
I think I want to like come in here and say this, like, if you're coming in here to watch or listen to this podcast thinking like, oh, I'm going to listen to two guys' opinions on movies and like, it's going to be so great because we're going to totally relate. It's not going to happen because we hate Titanic. We hate Avatar. I haven't seen Avatar 2 and it sucks. Okay. So like James Cameron, L plus ratio, you suck.
Yeah.
So there was a lot like Top Gun Maverick.
I still haven't seen it actually.
Like yeah, so it's like
that's one. There's a handful of movies that have come out this year that I haven't seen that I want to.
But it's like it is hard because right, like one, it's not like movie tickets are going down in price. But I'm also not complaining about that because like I really want the theater experience to stay alive like so desperately. And so I'm not complaining about that, but like also, right, like I love A24. Let's say two A24 movies come out very close to each other, and then also Top Gun Maverick comes out. Like, one, I'm not interested in seeing that, but even if I was going to go see it with somebody, I would 100% not go to the movies to see that movie until I had seen the other two movies I want to see that are actually in theaters.
Yeah, that makes sense. And my whole thing with like movie theaters is which this is just me possibly being a pretentious film goer or whatever, but like, dude,
no,
I can't.
It's not. Whatever you're about to say, no.
Mainstream audiences kill me. Sierra and I went and saw Nope a couple weeks ago, and the whole time, a woman is texting in front of us with her screen at like full brightness, and we're in like those recliners, so like we can see. Like Sierra literally like was leaning up, like, what is she? She's like, what is she say? What is she saying? and was like watching this woman text.
That is so important
Yeah.
to be texting during this movie.
And it wasn't just like, oops, let me send this real quick and whatever. She like had her phone open, ha ha ha, lol, waiting for a reply. Oh my gosh, what? Like talking, having a full conversation through the movie.
I had that kind of experience whenever I watched The Northman, which I loved, by the way.
That's another one on my list of things I gotta watch.
Yeah, we should actually talk about that on here, I think.
I'll watch it.
I got done and immediately, right, and I live in like Hicktown, USA, basically. And so and I could hear the cowboy boots on his feet when he said this. He was like, I haven't seen a good movie since Avengers Infinity War. And I was like, I just wanted to,
Yeah.
I wish that someone would jump on my skull is actually
In
what I
his
felt like in
defense,
that
it
moment.
is the best Marvel movie.
Okay, yeah, but I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, he could have said anything in that moment, and, like, I don't care.
That's why I've loved, like, I should have done this with the new Thor movie, is wait until it's on Disney Plus.
Oh, you mean Love and Thunder?
Yeah. Because Love and Thunder was doo-doo.
Yeah, but, like, I had a lot of hope for that, dude.
Nah, it was, I mean, I didn't have, like, a ton of hope because I was like, but I loved Ragnarok.
I'm about to say, Ragnarok was so good.
Yeah, no, this one's like,
I know, I heard it was bad.
it's so bad. We'll get into it in a different time because we're at
Yeah.
50-something minutes. Time flies, dude. Time
Wow.
flies when you're talking about movies.
I was about, dude, and I still have so much more to say. That's so sad.
About Prey?
No, just about movies.
Oh, yeah. I was about to say,
Just
like,
about the movie
what
show.
more is there to say about Prey?
I can give my rating. You gave your rating on Letterboxd. I can give mine.
Oh, yeah. Mine was I gave a 2 out of 5 on
Yeah.
Letterboxd.
In case you aren't familiar with
Should
Letterboxd,
we start our own rating system? Should we have our own rating system for the show?
the Cody and Austin rating system?
well,
We should.
just like for the show in general. It doesn't have to be specifically us.
No, that's cool, dude. No, just joking. No, just kidding. But in case you guys don't know what, yes, by the way, yes. If you don't know what Letterboxd is, think of it. It's like movie social media type.
Yeah.
I guess that's how you would
Yeah.
describe it. Blog for movie reviews, that type of thing. I gave mine a 2 out of 2.5 stars, and so you can do half-star rating as Letterboxd out of 5 stars. I'm not gonna read my review because it's kind of long, which all my reviews tend to be.
But follow us on Letterboxd.
Yes, please follow us on Letterboxd. What's your handle, Cody?
A film by Cody.
Mine is agray_1996, and yes, that's how old I am. So there you
Oh
go.
my gosh, you're so old.
Shut up. So, I will say that if you look at my reviewed, I don't have a lot because I was scared to start my Letterboxd reviews because I felt like I wasn't pretentious enough. But that's not what Letterboxd is, dude.
No, it's not about that.
It's a free space.
It's literally a free
dude.
space, free thoughts, free thinking. It's awesome. I love it there.
I loved this. I want more of this.
Yeah, this is fun.
I could do like probably 4 more episodes of just different movies I've already actually watched and you've actually watched in one sitting too, because I wouldn't get tired of it.
We can keep it going for a little bit more. I'd say we could go a little bit over an hour if we wanted to. We're at 54 minutes.
This is your ship, dude. Like I don't want to sink it. You know.
What have you been watching recently? You've been watching Bluey? You've been watching?
Yeah, dude. Peppa Pig can take an L, dude. Bluey's on
Yeah.
King Top right now.
I wasn't kidding when I texted you today. You need to watch The Bear.
No, dude, it's already on my list. Like it really was. Like I was about to start that show like this week.
I binged it last night. I watched the whole.
Yeah,
first season.
it's not very long episodes.
No, the longest episode is the last episode, and it's like 40 minutes. I think the rest of them are like 20 to 30. Like they're all really short, but they are incredible. Like it's such a good show. Writing, acting.
Okay, here. Take 2 shows.
Okay.
What 2 shows sum this show up? Obviously, it doesn't have to be a cooking show because I know the show's about cooking.
It's got bits of Sopranos, in the sense that it's like there's a lot of family stuff and like a lot of drama and heart and comedy. There's
Okay.
bits of, ooh, I don't even know. There's bits of like, dude, I don't know because
It's unique.
it's unique and it feels like the first episode legitimately feels like a short film. Every episode honestly feels like a short film that they just like made a cohesive story, like a cohesive narrative out of. And it's each episode is done so well and very meticulous and like down to the editing, like it is like so well done. And there's one episode I won't. Well, no, I'll just let you figure it out for yourself.
Yeah,
And then we'll talk about it.
I'll watch it because once I sit down and I even might actually start watching some tonight. Is it so?
I will
really
say this:
was
if you
curious
started
about-
tonight, you're not going to want to stop. You're going to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be a problem because I have to be up so early.
Yeah.
Does it? Is it the length of the episodes? Do you feel like they hit the length? Like the length is perfect.
Yes.
Like it's
If
got
anything,
fantastic pacing episode
yes.
wise.
If anything, I wanted them to be longer. There's an episode specifically. I won't say which one. Well, you'll find out which one it is because it's the shortest one. Where it ended, and I was like, that's it. That's it. Like I was like, what? Because that episode was like this, do, like
Just rapid fire.
nonstop, and it was so good. And everyone's on their A game. Like every actor. Did you ever watch Loiter Squad?
No, I actually heard a lot about it though.
One of the dudes from Loiter Squad is in it, and I was like, this dude can act. I was like, this dude's got chops. I was like, I did not know that he could actually.
Where's the setting again? What setting is this taking place in? Is it the Bronx?
It's Chicago. It's in Chicago.
Chicago. Okay. What a good place for like a cooking show. Like,
yeah, and it's
fantastic.
Yeah, and the story is unique and original.
When I say cooking show, I just mean that
there is food.
That
involved.
can sound. Yeah, there's food involved heavily, but it's not a cooking show. I feel like that is such a turnoff probably for
because what I was expecting was like the movie Chef, where there's like
I was just about to say Jon Favreau,
people cutting up vegetables and like people like do, and there's like some of that, but it's not the main thing. Like
right.
And I think I liked it like that, like where it was just like there as a side, as like to keep the food puns going.
I think you and I both like when we go in with like a preconceived notion almost,
and it gets like, shattered.
It just shatters, like it flips you on your head because like I think you and I are so like deeply involved with like film and movies and shows like that we reach a point where like when's the next time am I gonna be like surprised?
Exactly.
When's the next time I'm gonna be like
that's what
impressed?
I said I haven't had a show make me feel like this in a while. Since The Sopranos, yeah. Since I watched The Sopranos.
And we both did that recently, actually.
Yeah.
Which ashamedly, like, I wish that I would have watched that show. I wish I've already watched that show 10 times.
Yeah.
Like, it's that
show.
good. It really is.
I've also been watching some anime. I'm back on an anime kick.
What you watching? Oh, Yu Yu Hakusho,
Yu Yu Hakusho. I'm almost on season 1. I'm at the dark tournament.
Dude, you're slaying it, bro.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
I was on an anime kick. Like I said, for everyone listening, like whenever I'm on here, I'm trying for the sake of the podcast to like to force myself into some more situations, but I do got a little tight, so it is a little difficult for me to sometimes.
We don't judge you.
Catch all these.
But if we ever see that baby, I'm throwing hands.
Yeah, she's gonna box the chops, dude.
Yeah.
So, let's see. I am in the middle of watching The Old Man. Those are hour long.
Yeah.
I love Jeff Bridges. There's nothing else to say, really. If you like any of his work,
do you think he was offended when they were like, "We got a show called The Old Man, and we want you to be the main character"? He's like, "What? What? Hey,
no,
come on, man. I ain't that old."
I actually watched, I think, a GQ interview of him talking about him talking about his roles or whatever, and he said that he read the script for it and was like, "Oh yeah, So like he read it and loved it. Like no one had to pitch it to him.
All right.
He was just like I'm in, and boy does he deliver. Like,
Well, I'll tell you that right now my list is the top of my list right now is Better Call Saul. I gotta finish. I gotta catch up because the new episode,
I haven't watched any of it.
the last episode comes out next week, I think, and I haven't seen any of season 6, and I'm halfway through season 5, and I need it.
You know, I told you from the beginning that I was waiting until that show ended to binge it.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. That's a big thing about me. Like even with The Bear, right? Like I'm excited to watch it, but excited for it to just stop. Like you know, like that. I have a hard time with that.
Well, here's the thing. It got renewed for a season 2, but I wish it didn't, because I think it's.
Oh, you wish it just.
I wish it was a one-off.
Stayed?
And Chris, I talked with Chris about this a little bit. It's a perfect like one season mini series, just like thing. I'm happy that it got a season 2. I just really hope they can live up to
deliver.
They can deliver.
Yeah, but like, could you imagine, right? Watching like, let's say The Sopranos again. Like, let's bring that. We just said this big show like a moment ago. Let's say you're watching The Sopranos whenever it was airing, right? And it finishes season 1. I can't imagine looking back, like with the power of streaming services, and say, "Oh, I wish they would have only stopped at season." Like, you never know. Like, maybe The Bear turns into one of the next grades.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's kind of the hard thing with, you know, you don't want to get Game of Thrones. You know, going again.
You gotta know when to stop.
Yeah, you gotta know when to stop, and that's the hard thing with TV shows is like, they
the
get
perfect,
this role and like ratings are high and
the perfect show. And this is why this is the perfect show in my opinion. Is that my number one favorite? Like, if anyone was like, Cody, what is the perfect television show? The answer is Mr. Robot, because it was written as what it is. They wrote every season like that. Like, this is what it's going to be. We need this many seasons. Here's the arc for each season. Like, they wrote it all at once, and they gave it to one director and let him do the whole show, and it is perfect. It is someone's vision brought to life. There is little to no studio interference. It was on a TV channel that nobody watched. There's a ton of people who haven't seen it. It's got a pretty solid fan base, but there's a lot of people that have never watched it, and that's a shame because it is a perfect show.
Rami Malek
is incredible. The story arc between seasons is fresh each season. Like the thing that happens in the season finale of one season changes the game for the next season, like every season. And you're like, "Oh, here we go."
My very single problem with Mr. Robot is that although I highly agree with you, you can't just recommend this show to somebody, especially with like mental health being such like a rampant, like people like recovering from mental health at like a all-time high, which is fantastic. But this show is so anxiety inducing.
Oh, it is. Oh yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that as like, I'm saying it as a con in terms of recommending it to somebody. I'm not saying it as a con as like a thing that it does to you, because I think that was intentional and it does its job.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it does its job.
Does it well.
So well. Because I used to watch it and legit get anxiety attacks.
Yeah, me too.
And I loved it. I was like, this is awesome.
I was watching that show whenever my daughter was 3 weeks old, and I was like, just like, and he's like, the soundtrack is like this, and I'm like on half an hour of sleep over the last 48 hours, and I'm like, feel like I'm strung out on drugs or something. Like, I don't know, it was crazy.
And you just throw your phone in a microwave. I can't let him trace me.
Dude, oh man. You gotta watch The Old Man. You said that, and there's a scene that involves that in The Old Man, and it's so good.
All right, I'll put it on the list. I'll check it out.
Really, you got it, bro. You got it.
All right. Well, oh my god, getting sleepy. for a show called The Movie Shelf, we did spend the last 15 minutes talking about TV shows, but that's fine. We love it all.
Yeah, but like I just said, Mr. Robot, it's movie minded.
Yeah. It is a very
It was movie
cinematic.
minded.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, we can go ahead and call it for this first episode. If you're listening, thank you. If you're not, what are you doing? What are you doing here at the end of the episode? Go back to the beginning and listen from there, idiot. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you guys for listening to two rambling fools talking about
two cis
super
white
subpar
males talking about film.
Two mids, you know what I'm saying? Like Omega 5s who married Omega 10s, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, but on a serious note, thank you for listening to the Movie Shelf podcast. I am Cody.
I'm Austin.
Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.